Why should you reprogram your mind? You might be thinking, like, my mind is okay. Why should I reprogram my mind? Because what you have as mind is not mostly yours. Let me explain what I mean by that. Your parents, your teachers, your priest, your culture, your country has conditioned you to be a certain person. Oftentimes, that's not who you really are. So unless and until you reprogram your mind, you are not you. You're possibly living somebody else's life. And if you know this information and learn how to reprogram your mind, which sounds a little bit freaky, but it's very simple, then you have a potential, you have an opportunity, you have a chance to take your business to the next level, your life to the next level. So what is it? What is it? What are we talking about this? This is not like woo-woo hypnosis stuff. This is like real psychology that we are going to talk about today. So let's define what mind is. What is it? What is it? What are we talking about here? So the commonly accepted definition for mind is a process that controls the flow of information and energy. It's a process that controls the flow of information and energy. So if it's a process that controls flow of information and energy, what does that mean, really? So what it means is there is information coming to you, like you're reading books, watching TV, watching YouTube, paying attention to Facebook. A lot of things are happening, right? From all these things, there is information coming into your brain, and your mind processes that information, allocates it, allocates to see how you need to respond in the future. So mind is basically living in the past. It's staying in the past and trying to find out, okay, where does this information fit in? Somebody's angry at you, right? And where does that fit in, right? So it's trying to figure out what is going on. Energy, same thing. It could be light energy, heat energy, electromagnetic energy, or any type of energy in the universe. The mind is trying to process it, try to understand. Emotions have energy. If somebody is talking to you in a very strong emotional way, energy of that emotion is processed using your mind. So that's what the mind is. So if you need to reprogram your mind, like I said, you need to know what mind is. So that's what we defined so far. So now we talked about processing information and energy. So let's talk about processing for a second. Yeah. So processing means your mind could, when you came to this world, you almost came mindless, right? So you were born, you're like, oh, what are the information that is coming to me? You don't do that, right? You just wake up from some perceived sleep, and then you started crying, and you're like, oh, give me milk, or give me something, give me some air. And then you came to this planet and you started celebrating life. You're not like, you didn't come to this world depressed, did you? Like, oh my gosh, this 9 months of living in this constrained space was horrifying. That's not how you came to this world. You came to this world like so happy, vibrant, right? And then we start building this process. So most of us are, actually, this is something that I could generalize, all of us are between extreme processing and no processing. So what does that mean? Your mind is over processing the information and energy that is coming to you. That's extreme. That's rigidity. That's extreme processing of information and energy. The other way is no processing whatsoever. So we all are within the spectrum, right? So one extreme is over processing, other extreme is no processing whatsoever, right? So people who extreme process information and energy sometimes get depressed, sometimes have, anxiety issues and other things that are related to extreme processing. People who are no processing, sometimes these are extremes. It might be psychotic, and extreme excitement and stuff like that, right? We are all somewhere in this spectrum. So what does that mean? So in order to reprogram, we need to know what mind is, and we need to know what does processing mean. So if we are towards this side, our job is to come a little bit closer to this side If you're on this side, our job is to come a little bit closer to the other side, right? So this way we balance out the processing. So that's what we are talking about here. Now, how do you do that? So in order for you to learn how to do that, you need to know what are the different layers of mind. So I'm going to give some approximate, general, high-level idea about what does that mean? What is mind in terms of different layers, right? So in simple level, mind is behavior, right? Basic behavior, the things that you do, right? Regular day-to-day stuff that you do. And if you change behavior, your mind is not going to change. It's going to change a little bit. Imagine there is a big tree and then you cut some leaves from there. Do you think the tree is going to change? No, tree is not going to change. There is slight modification to the tree. Does that make sense? Now, the collective behavior, a group of behavior that you built, that through repetition, you build some energy for that behavior, that's called a habit. So habit, if you change a habit, it's like cutting a branch of a tree. It's pretty good. If you change it's pretty good. It's not bad. But if you do that, then yeah, there is slight more change than just cutting 2 leaves. So if you change habit, pretty good. It's much better. Now, the next level is beliefs. Okay, belief. What do you believe about the world? What do you believe about people? What do you believe about everything in the universe, right? So that belief is like a huge branch of the tree, the imaginary tree that we are talking about. Yeah. So if you look at it, if you are able to change what you believe, I'm not saying you need to stop believing in whatever religion that you believe in. That's not what I'm talking about here. You believe like, I'm not here to, why am I failing all the time? And I'm failing all the time. I'm a failure. If that's a belief that you have, if you change that belief, it's like cutting a big branch of a tree. Big branch of a tree that has so many other smaller branches. Now there is somewhat bigger change. Does that make sense? So reprogramming, you're getting it, right? Okay, good. So next level is values. So if you look at values, the next level is like there are things that you value most. Like think about this term called evaluation. What are we doing? Electronically valuing, right? Evaluing what is important for you. You are evaluating what's important for you. You're evaluating, right? So what does that mean? It means that you have values that you want to have. So let me give you an example of a value. Adventure is a value. You want to have adventure in your life, right? So you want to have adventure in your life, and all of a sudden, security is not important for you. You don't value security. Like, you want to jump from a plane. You don't care about security. You want to, paraglide or do something crazy, or you want to do outrageous thing. You want to climb up to Himalayas or Mount Everest or something like that. If you're adventurous, you don't care about security because that's what you value the most, right? So similar way, like think about relationship. You want a relationship. That is a value. Like you want to have a relationship with people and you value that. But what if you want to be successful and then that is your primary value? And then think about a time where like your wife, your husband, you want to spend time with them, your children. All of a sudden, there is an important thing that is happening in your office. And if you value success, where would you stay? Would you stay at home or would you go to your office? Does that make sense? So if you change these values, if you shift your value, and sometimes we are forced to change our values. Imagine like somebody who did not care about health at all, and health was not one of his values. Fun was his value, right? And imagine this person like eat a lot of sugar and have a lot of fun. So a person who was really focused on fun was his value. And then all of a sudden, let's say this person had a heart attack. And all of a sudden, what happened? The value shifted. The value shifted for him from fun to health. This is a forced shift in value. Like heart attack made it happen. But here's the thing. You don't need to have a heart attack in order to switch your value from fun to health. You could consciously do that. So if you change your value, it's like you're taking a big chunk of the stem of this tree, like you're cutting like half of the tree, like so, or a significant portion of this tree, and then it's a major shift in mind. Like as you progress, you would see like this is like higher and higher, levels, right? The next level is stories. The stories that we say to ourselves decide who we are and where we are going. Okay, so what does that mean? What it means is, imagine you had something really bad happen in your life when you were young, or something good that happened in your life. What you interpret about that story, or interpret about what happened at the time, is the narration of what happened. Imagine something happened and somebody's narrating that. It's like Morgan Freeman narrating that, something happening in universe or something like that. There is an actual incident, there is a narration, there is a story of the incident. And almost never will the story match with what happened. The narration almost never matches with what really happened at the time. Yeah. So because of that, because the narration doesn't match, we modify our narration to meet whatever we want to believe or whatever we are more conditioned to believe. So what does that mean? It means that no matter what happened, there was like really bad child abuse and stuff like that happening in someone's home. One person becomes a big criminal, another person becomes a philanthropist. Why? Because the interpretation of what happened has changed. One person says, you know what, let me show them. My dad, my mom did this. You know what, let me show I could be worse than him. That could be his response, her response. Why? Because the interpretation of his or her story was based on that. Now, another person says, you know what, my mom did this thing. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the world how to be a great parent, how to be an extraordinary person. And this is what I'm going to do. So based on his narration, the life has completely changed. Life has a completely different meaning. That's the next level. At that point, you're basically almost taking the complete tree is down. But there is still the stem, and I'll show you how to do that. But now, when you change your story, most of your life change, because it changes for the most part, because you're kind of changing the mind and restructuring and reprogramming your mind to the specific goal that you want. So the next and final level of reprogramming your mind is changing who you believe you are. I talked about belief in a few minutes ago. I said beliefs are the things that, what do you believe about the world? Now, this is a new type of belief. In this belief, what you do is you believe about yourself. You change your belief about yourself. What did you believe about yourself? That's what you're changing. And when you change that, boy, the entire thing changed. Entire thing changed. Because what you believe about yourself is your identity. This is who you are. This is who you think you are. Imagine you lost your memory yesterday. What would you think you are right now? It's all based on what you remember from yesterday. Does that make sense? So what you remember about yourself is what you believe about yourself. What you believe about yourself is who you are. And the entire tree is pulled out and restructured and reprogrammed when you do that. That's the level that we are having the conversation on. So I know we kind of went through like a little bit deep level, and I mean, try to relate with this. Like when you're trying to change something, are you trying to change behavior or habits or beliefs or values or stories or your identity itself? Because if you change your identity, the story will change. If you change your story, the values will change. If you change your values, the beliefs will change. If you change your beliefs, the habits will change. If you change your habits, the behavior will change. Isn't that fascinating? So that's my invitation for you. I want to have a longer conversation about it. Hopefully I could talk about it in one of the events that I'm doing or somewhere, but try to process this information. Maybe watch this video one more time, because a lot of thoughts have gone into this video, and there is a lot of deep advanced psychology there too, although we are saying that in a very, very simplistic way, right? So think about it. See how you could use this to reprogram your mind. change the way you look at yourself and change and restructure and reprogram your mind so that you could take your business to the next level. So until then, accelerate your business, grow to the next level, and scale and make a lot of income and take your life to the next level. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.